while Suzuha's sacrifice seemed to not be worth it at first, a change of the lines seems to possibly have made things worth it. And we're going to have to kind of just go from there. I mean, there's not too much more for me to speculate on. It seems like we got past the point of the fated passing of Mayuri here, and now it seems like we're going to move into a direction where, because we get past this day and this time and things seem to be at a good point, at least right now, we have to figure out the next direction to properly take here, and how we're going to kind of solve whatever our goals are, whatever we actually want to get past and figure out and do to save this future. Which I don't know the proper step for us to take. All the characters losing memories of all this stuff and not actually knowing the things that have occurred is going to make things a lot harder on Okabe again here, and how he's going to handle it is going to be interesting to see. Is he going to completely break down before he's able to get to it, or is he going to do a good enough job at kind of holding himself up? I feel like he went through a lot more than losing Suzuha here, but it also could be the idea that he probably fears that he actually can't change anything and get her back at any point, whereas before he felt like every time he did it, he'd be good to get Mayuri back, so it might be a little bit more different and difficult on him. Interested to see the direction they go, though. If you like it all, hit the like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave any comments with this episode or series. Let's get going on episode 17. Because you didn't know what to do? Oh, you mean when that didn't show up? Right, right. And now you have no clue where to go from here. Similar to me. I have no clue where we go either. Oh. So same thing, just a different time? Or is he just having panics of the moment? They shot instantly too, if that's the case. We have. Unfortunately. Glad you process all of this quick. Damn. It's no longer that. We have no clue where to get it. It's actually funny how we had it literally at the beginning. If we retrace our steps and undo all the other ones, we'll head back to the original. I don't know if that's how that works, but it's a try. If we cancel this, the idea is that Suzuha will be back, though. Is at least my expectations. The first Which one was last? I don't remember the order. Yeah, we have to go backwards. So the first one. For okay. Yeah. She asked herself not to fucking get me away from these people. Oh yeah, they're trying to take her. What the fuck? So it has nothing to do with like taking you or anything. They just want to win. We did. She don't remember, but she's intrigued. She has no idea. I also love all the like sweeping shots of the city and stuff to show you that it doesn't have it fixed exactly how it should be. She doesn't know. Oh, what the fuck? Gonna be fucking exhausted by now. The ramen shop. Yeah. There's the staircase where she learned it all. But she's having visions right now. Why is that happening? Does she possess something that we're unaware of? Just overloaded with fucking possibilities. Exactly what he said. Oh. So him being alive was the prevention of that, because he was against it, and when he left, she took it upon herself to do whatever she wanted. And he was in shock, and then they get caught. How do you tell somebody that they have to lose someone? Okay. What the? He comes to save us, huh? I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to even say. Oh. Oh, how to thank you. Lose your life, bro. Like, that's... She did a lot. Even in this. Suza saved her.
身代金を用意することができなかった。そんな時、IBN5100 を高額で買い取りたいという人物が現れたんだよ。それで手放したんですか。おかげで身代金を用意することができた。死んだパパを生き返らせたにゃ。パパが死んだ過去を死なないように変えたにゃ。
Yeah, buddy, it's not easy. Yeah. Would you value that more? Are you gonna make up our minds for us?
その、さっきはありがとう。すごく怖かった。フェイリス、どうしたんだ？ルミホって呼んでほしいな。今日も、岡部さんがいなかったら、どうなっていたかわからない。
言い直すな。いつも通りでいい。
ママはね、私の王子様だよ。
王子様？
The Ferris route begins.
ユシーの命が危ないって。
本
当？10年前、8歳の誕生日だった。パパと一緒に遊びに行こうって約束してたの。でも、仕事でダメになっちゃって。
And never got to go, never got to see him.
だんだけど、寂しくて、愛されてないんじゃないかって思っちゃって。
Of course, you
パパ
were
なんか
fucking
もう知
8.
らない。死んじゃえばいいんだって。
And then it happened, and you blamed yourself entirely for it. Yep.
になっちゃった。
Was you telling him to die?
その過去を変えたくて、D メールを。
それで親父さんは事故を回避し、お前が積極的に萌え文化を街に取り入れることもなく。
D メール送るね。パパは10年前に事故で死んでるの。それが真実。この10年間は夢。一緒に過ごして
Even if she's not going to be able to remember any of that. Don't want to lose something that you have now. I'm glad it was her who decided. Of course she's not certain what she wants. Damn. It will all be lost. A door opening door sends him into a panic. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm still confused on how she remembers all this. Ugh. And now it's Haruka's turn, I think. Instantly can see it. The shift is great. They did. What I love so much about this episode specifically isn't, I guess, the resolution or what happens with Ferris. And while that's there and it does what it has to, I don't feel, I guess, an over emotional attachment in any sort of way to it. So for me, it, like, certain moments do, of course, having to make that decision ultimately between the future that happened versus the one that, like, you kind of altered yourself, and then the things that you changed and you took back in a way, and then having to make that choice between, like, your dad or your friend, and, like, all of the stuff that kind of comes along with it. Sure, that stuff's pretty strong in the way that it will hit, but for the most part, it didn't do too much for me. What really, really sells this and makes things intriguing is the direction that we will now focus things towards. Or I guess I should say the direction that this episode started focusing towards. The idea that we will change, we will go back, we will change things, revert these demails and the things that we've done, but now we'll have a understanding of the lines that we've been in and the things that we've needed to do and known, have all this extra knowledge and stuff that have, the things that occur and what people's intentions are and all this sort of stuff, that it can apply really well to the point that what I would guess ultimately would be one of the last 2 or 3 episodes, somewhere around there, probably 2, we get back to the original line and all the questions we had from episode 1 before all of this occurred. So the first, like, 15-ish minutes of that episode all make plenty of sense once we fully get back into them. And many, because many of the moments within this episode make perfect sense. You understand the idea that or you believe, at least I did, that she was asking for us to remove the culture and everything that she kind of brought, just because she said before that her dad didn't want her to do it or was against it or whatever the case is. Or she I don't think she said that, actually. I think she said that she regretted sometimes regrets possibly of doing this. So we assume that that's what the D-mail was this whole entire time, but now we figure out it's not, and it's to save her dad. But what makes even more sense is you can look back at the fact that he was the first person we saw when Okabe came back afterwards of sending this mail, which is fascinating to think about. Of the questions were just like, oh, he's here now, he wasn't here before. It was never, oh, he died before, now he's here, and we're going back and we're saving him. Unless they did present that and I'm just misremembering it. And even if they did present the idea that he was dead and now that he's not, it didn't ever click in my mind that she would have asked to go back and save it. It more so just seemed that she went back and asked to change something, and as a result, for whatever reason, he ended up still being around. I think my initial guess was just that he was around more because he had more time on his hands after the fact that we did this, because he wasn't so busy with work and things. That's the assumption I believe I was operating under. But it works so perfect because they showed it right in front of your face, and it makes me wonder the things in all these other ones when we go back and we change the message that Ruka sent, and then I believe Moyako was right before that with the one that she sent to herself about the cell phone, I think. And then before that, what was the first one that we sent? He sent to himself about the Kurisu thing, I believe. So if we constantly go back there, I'm curious just to see all the things that they kind of put right in front of us that didn't make sense at the time that now make plenty of sense. And I'm really interested and curious to see kind of where that's going to head. The other big thing presented this episode, I believe it was, unless it's been presented before and I'm misremembering, but the idea that Paris was able to see these flashes almost of the other line, like one of them before or after or whatever it is, and remembering these things that all seem to come off of a trigger almost of like certain words or things that aren't actually in this world. But when it happens, there's like this emotional like connection to this memory in a way that you have that kind of gets brought back out, and you start having these glimpses and these flashes. Maybe it's a similar situation to like sometimes things happen in life and you just kind of are like, I knew that was going to happen, or for whatever reason like you had this feeling that this was going to, like almost like you saw a vision or these things before. Maybe it's a similar connection to something like that, but they're actually things that happen and they're just in these different lines, and that's more so what she was seeing. But why she's the only one that was able to see it, I don't believe she will be the only one that we end up meeting that will see it, and I believe that might end up playing an important thing, but it also might not, and it leaves me confused, I guess, for the direction that they plan to go with that. Outside of that, like, there's a lot of good moments and things that make sense. The episode itself being overly complex is not a thing, I guess. It's pretty straightforward. Conversations with Kurisu about the stuff that happened, then we end up going back. He accepts the fact that he has to kind of erase things and try this over, and this theory of stuff of them constantly going back might not make a lot of sense. We end up meeting Ferris, and she's basically being hunted by these dudes who are doing absolutely everything in their power to win and completely just ambushing her, which is the most wild shit, why they would even go out of their way. We spend an entire time, like multiple minutes of them just kind of just running without really providing us much, and then in these moments is when she starts getting the flashes because he knows the names and the things that are providing her with these triggers. I once again don't know what that is, but I feel as though that stuff will be important. Another thing here, oh, this thing that you never told anybody, but you have it deep in your head and you have it all kind of planned out, and then you can kind of like envision all of this stuff of what it was like. It's almost like she's constantly seeing it, which is interesting. Brings back the dad, at least that's what she ends up telling us, that's what her purpose was. And then we instantly flash because he has nothing to do. They get caught, but also just because he like kind of freezes up probably in that moment and doesn't know how to handle it and what to do, so they get caught and beaten. The dad saves us, luckily, which is really great. And then this whole sequence is really tough on Okabe, of course, having to see them together and how happy they are, you know, now, and the connection that both of them have and being together. He's basically completely broken about the idea that he has to choose to save somebody for his own benefit, basically, at this point, over what somebody else ended up doing. Really tough thing. The question for this, it's rather simple to me. It's the idea that what's done is done. He comes from a line that in the line that he comes from, this is what's going to happen, right? He's going to die. So the decision is pretty obvious in his mind, or should be at least, but about the idea that he should be more focused on saving Mayuri and not allowing her to die, and then the dad can anyways because he was bound to at some point in that line that he's operating fully under here. but it doesn't work the same way from somebody who hasn't experienced that, who hasn't gone through these other things before, such as Ferris here, right? It doesn't work the exact same way. So it's a tough thing for him to have to weigh, because who's he to tell her in this line now that, you know, somebody's more valuable or more important than somebody else, when she's only lived through this and only has memories and knowledge really of this, right? It's not an easy thing, and it's very, very tough on him, which is very, very well done, the way that they kind of display this and showcase him losing it a little bit. Like, he's not really losing it, but more so he seems very down about it, and he doesn't really know the route to go. I love that she made the decision for him, allowed him to not have to really stress over this more than he already kind of was, which I actually really, really like. And also the idea that she determines at this point, it makes a lot more sense, probably to save somebody who has this longevity, you know, of life left in them, and somebody who's so dear and important to her, rather than somebody who may have been around before. She was able to now save and have these memories of these 10 years and stuff. And hey, if I remember things from this line, maybe I'll remember things when or have these memories and stuff that come back to me at some random point from another, who knows, which ultimately she decides it's okay for us to send it. And we send everything through. She decides to wake up from the dream, at least that's what she says, and look who's back, and everything seems to be pretty decent so far, except for the idea that the thing is not at Ruka's shrine, so we have to figure out where that is. The idea is that it was sold off a year ago. Who was it sold off to? My prediction would probably be FB, assuming that they're like a organization, right, that we're following or something. And FB is probably either the top, like the running organization, or somebody who owns CERN in a way, or they work under CERN or something. So maybe it's just CERN directly who bought them. But as far as I remember, CERN's trying to get rid of the IBNs or have full possession of all of them. So that would make a lot of sense why they would go out of their way and why they would end up buying it. So in this line, now we have to get Ruka basically to send the message and revert what she did before, which will allow us to have what we need, I guess. I don't know. To be in a position where we could possibly have the IBN with us again. But if I remember correct too, we didn't have the IBN in the one with Moyako when she changed it. We had it before that. And then after she changed... No, wait. I don't remember. I don't think it really matters. They'll display it when it comes back up. I'm not going to go too crazy over it. That's going to be all for me, though. Another really good one. Very excited to see how the Ruka arc starts kind of coming about, and all the things that I may have missed now that we have full understanding of a lot of these situations and the way that things kind of play out. If you liked it all, hit the like and subscribe to me. To me, feel free to check out the other videos on the channel. Leave any comments with this episode or series. I'll be back for episode 18 soon. You guys have a good one, though. Peace.